I've found that most of my training work has been repeat work, and it's certainly much easier to look after your customers really well and to do repeats rather than constantly having to find and sell to new customers. But how can we maximize the number of repeats that we get from a customer? Well, I've got 6 ideas for you here that I'm going to bang through quite quickly. And the first one is to prime the customer, to put the idea into the customer's head that this course is the first of a series. It's not just a one-off. And we can do that by saying to the customer, this might well be a series of courses, but let's do one and see how it goes. And you can put into the customer's head the idea that a series of courses is much better for their people because it becomes a kind of habit to learn. And that in between each course, they can then apply the ideas. And then when you next see them for the next training day, you can see how they've been getting on, answer any questions and check they're all right. You can even set them some sort of formal homework to do before next time if you want to do that. But certainly the idea of steady learning rather than one big binge is a much better idea. And I would always recommend doing a day a month or a day every 2 months rather than doing a 3-day or a 5-day course, because that really is too much to take in. So it's the best way for the participants to learn, but it's also motivational for them to know that they're on a long-term course, a long-term development process, rather than a one-off sheep dip. It shows commitment from the company, and it's very motivational for them to know that. And actually, if you just do 4 days spread through a year, it feels like a year of learning when really it's only 4 days. So that's what I'd recommend quite genuinely and honestly to a customer. Now, the second suggestion I've got here is just to ask the customer for repeats, rather than doing a course, going away and hoping that you get asked back. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but you have to have a certain amount of confidence to say to the customer, wasn't that great? Shall we do another one? And the best time to do it is straight after you've done the training course, while it's all still fresh in their mind, they know it was fun and they loved it. Particularly if your training is fun, because what may happen is a month or 2 later, they may have started to forget what fun it was, and they'll have learned a little bit from your training. I usually find that people only pick up about 10 or 20% of what I've told them on a training day. And of course, that's still worth doing the training for that 10 or 20%. And everybody picks up a different 10%, so we have to do the whole day. But nevertheless, the amount they learn dwindles over time. So really you want to strike while the iron's hot, and maybe the same day or a couple of days later say, wasn't that a great day? And I know that everybody gained lots from it. How about doing a follow-up day? So that's my second thought. Ask reasonably soon after the training day. Now, my third idea is to have a phase 2 already planned. So this is where you say, great, so we've done phase 1, we've done the, let's say, the negotiating course. Now, how about doing phase 2, where we actually practice it and have a practical workshop day where we do some role plays? Or how about having phase 2, where we actually plan your specific negotiations and we look at what your tradables are and how you're going to handle the different tactics? Or we've done selling, why don't we now do phase 2, which is a workshop day where we work out a big chart of your features and benefits, the most commonly encountered objections. Everybody will commit to a particular close and we'll really drill it in. So the idea is to have a phase 2 ready that you can suggest to a customer after you've done phase 1. And phase 1 has to stand alone. So you mustn't do phase 1 and deliberately leave lots of bits out so that phase 1 is rather weak and then they have to do phase 2. I think that would be dishonest. So phase 1 needs to be a complete standalone great day, but you also need to have a phase 2 planned that can follow on. Now, my fourth idea is to have complementary subjects. So what I mean by this is, for example, if somebody does a time management day with me, I would quite often say to them, we've done time management, it was great, everybody liked it, I'm sure you'll agree. But a subject that goes really well, that you really should do next, is project management, because they're almost 2 sides of the same coin. Because time management is about lots of small tasks that can be done in any order, but project management is about bigger things where the tasks are connected. So the next logical step would be to do project management. Similarly, if you did project management first, you could say project management's great when everything's connected, but really we should look at time management. That is the other half of the subject. It's the other side of the coin, which is when things don't have a definite order. In fact, time management is in a way more difficult because you've got a choice of what order you do things in. So the question is, what order should we do them in? So time management would complete the picture if we did that. Similarly, if you've done a course on leadership, you may say the next logical step is to look at individuals in the team and to look at handling difficult people, or to look at influencing. And in fact, influencing and difficult people definitely go together. So if you've done a course on one of those, it would make sense to do the other one. So what are the complementary subjects that go with the courses that you're teaching? Now, my fifth idea for getting more repeat work is to keep in touch. And this is obvious, really, but I think it's easy to make the mistake of thinking, well, they know where I am, they've got my email address. If they want more, they can always contact me. But I like to be top of mind with my customers. And a good way to do this is to send, for example, a tip of the month. So I send out a monthly tip that just says to them, here's an interesting idea I've discovered, here's something useful. And it just keeps me in mind. So they're thinking, oh yeah, actually Chris is good. We ought to get him back in. Or actually Chris could probably help us with the current problem that we've got. Or, oh, I didn't realize that Chris did negotiating as well. Oh, right. Yeah, we should get him in for that. So I send tips out on the different subjects that I teach, just to remind customers that I'm there if they want help with any of those subjects. And I think the key with keeping in touch is it mustn't be some boring nag, or it mustn't be a boast about yourself. Like, I'm honored to be presenting at this conference, or look at me, how great I am that I've published a book. I don't think it should be that. And LinkedIn is full of people doing that kind of thing. But to stand out, it's much better to give them some value. So my tip of the month is an actual useful tip. By the way, if you want to get my free tip of the month, just go to my website, chriscroft.com, and sign up. But it's free and it gives actual useful value. And similarly with LinkedIn posts and YouTube videos, put some actual useful stuff out there so that customers will want to look at it and will want to think, well, this guy's really good and he or she is giving me free information and maybe we should get them back in to do another course. So keep in touch, but giving them useful content while you do it. Now, the final way to leverage the training courses that you've already done is to get as many referrals as you can. So the idea is that after you've done a day for a customer and they've enjoyed it and they thought it was great, you could then say to them, who else do you think would benefit from that training course that we just did? And they'll probably say, well, there's a mate of mine who runs a company that does X and they're just down the road. They really need it. You should see the state of their projects. Or he's always complaining that he hasn't sold enough, or whatever it is. And then you can say, brilliant, I'll contact him. And either you contact that customer and you say, I did this course for your friend down the road last week and they really loved it. Would you like me to come in and talk to you? Or even better, if you can do it, and it's pushing your luck a bit, but you can say to the person you've just done the course for, would you mind emailing your friend and saying that I did a course for you and you liked it? And that would be really, really great. And you can even say to them, look, I'll write it. If I could send you an email saying Chris came in and did a course and we thought it was good and we would recommend him. If I could send you that email, would you be prepared to send that on to them with your name on the bottom of it? That would be fantastic. And you could even say, you know, I'll be so grateful, I'll do something for you for free or cheaper or something. But personally, I don't think there should be a financial incentive, because I think that all starts to get into sort of almost bribery, or it doesn't feel completely honest. I feel they should recommend you just because they think you're good and they want to do a favor for their friend down the road. So if you're a bit pushy, say to them, would you mind sending an email to them saying that you really liked my course? And I'll write it for you if you like. But if you're like me and you don't want to be too pushy, you could just say, if you don't mind, I'll contact them, but I'll mention you. Would that be okay? So ask for referrals. It's the easiest thing to do. And again, if you do it a bit like asking at the right time, if you do it just after you've done a course and they've loved it, then why would they not recommend you to their friends? Everybody wins. So there are 6 ideas to help you get more repeat work. And ideally, within a couple of years of being a trainer, almost everything you do will be repeat work. I was looking at my diary just now, and 99% of the courses I've done this year have been for existing customers. I don't need to look for new customers because I look after my existing ones. Every now and then a referral comes in, and sometimes you get referrals where you haven't even asked. They just have recommended you, and you get an email saying, I was recommended you by somebody. And of course, always make sure you go back and thank whoever it was who recommended you if that happens. But in the ideal world, you will live off this. This will be so important to you because it means that you don't have to do any more cold selling at all. So this is one of the many things I teach on my Successful Trainers program. And if you are thinking of getting into training, please do contact me. I'll put a link below, but it's basically just successfultrainers.com. And you can get in touch with me and maybe I can help you get into doing training if that's what you would like to do for your career.